I think I would like it if somebody said my name and the person that heard it that knew me smiled. I think I just think I would like to be remembered. I guess in a fond way. Looking back, that we really had all we needed. There really wasn't anything that was lacking. We had plenty of love and good food. Mom was a good cook. But I mean, we learned how to do things around the house. Dad didn't hire people to come in and repair things. He did it himself, and we helped him, and we learned how to do, how to handle tools and repair things also. There were kids in my neighborhood that kind of banded together and played together all the time. And now and then I would make an attempt to try to fit in with that group. And they didn't particularly want my company. So, I would get rebuffed in one way or another. Pine cones come to mind, being thrown at me. So that happened on several occasions. So anyway, it was made known that I could go elsewhere to find a friend to play with. And so I had a couple of friends one was very introverted and really didn't like to go outside very much, and so we stayed inside in his house and played games. And another one was nobody else seemed to want to spend any time with. We had fun together, and nobody else wanted our company, so we kept each other company and played. I remember one highlight of my youth was I got a 10-speed bike. And maybe that was with my new 10-speed bike, maybe that was my new version of flying away, because I was on that bike constantly until I learned how to drive. Even though it was just a family car, a big, huge Buick Mom had, it was freedom. It represented freedom. And so I think a lot of people my age, that was a huge thing to get your license, to get a little freedom, like you're becoming an adult. I played rugby for about 15 years. So I learned a lot about contributing as a teammate, sacrifice in some ways, where you're willing to put yourself, in the breach and take the punishment to achieve the goal. And I think in life that's a good lesson to learn. I was blessed to have a mother who, throughout her life, was a Christian and lived a Christian life. She made sure that, and Dad helped. Of course, Dad, helped too. But I really think it was more Mom's influence, that I'd been to church, going to church all my life, as a teenager, all my life. But I've been going to church and knew about God and Jesus and these things, but it had not really dawned or maybe hit home that I was a sinner. And no matter how good I was, or how many times I went to church, or no matter what I did on my own, that I was a sinner and that I needed a Savior. And so that night, I made a commitment and became a Christian. And since then, as a young adult, when I graduated from high school, I got into some more worldly things and drifted away from the church and from my walk with Jesus. And I think the Holy Spirit was always looking out for me and kept me from the devastating harm. Finally came back around and realized that I drifted too far, but not too far. I mean, not so far that the Lord wouldn't forgive me for my sins and bring me back home. And still, of course, have to live with my past, but yet I know that I'm forgiven and that my salvation is assured, and my future, even after this life, is also assured, that I'll spend eternity with Him. Everything you experience in your life molds you, good or bad, or good and bad. I would say probably one of the most difficult things, apart from losing your parents. I mean, that's devastating always. But I would say probably my divorce was had made the most impact. At the time, I was not walking with Jesus. I was saved, but I was not living the lifestyle that I should. And so therefore, I don't think that I was being the husband that I ought to be. Recognizing that I had failed, and I didn't want to admit that. So it took a long time to come to that understanding and to be able to accept it and to move forward from that and be a better husband. I hope that Tina would say that I'm a good husband. And Nick was born in Arlington, Texas, when I was living out there. And she's just has a lot of, we share a sense of humor. I think she's very bright. She has a good sense of humor, and she is very outgoing. She also is a caretaker, and I'm glad she is one. I will say that as I was learning my hard lesson about divorce and parenting part-time, I really wanted Monique's life to be as normal, even though her mom and I were divorced. I wanted it to be as normal as possible. So our divorce was unfortunate, and we all pay a price for that, and unfortunately, including our children. And I want to say that as difficult as that was, I would do it all again to have Monique. It was painful, but and nobody gets married ever expecting to divorce. But I really think that even though that was painful, I would do it again. Tina and I met in school, night school, in 2001. She asked me if I would like to have coffee after class one night. So I jokingly tell people that she asked me out, although it wasn't really a date. But still, I guess it got the ball rolling in a way. Usually Tina's first thought about someone is she thinks of them more than herself, and first. She's very giving, she's very much a caretaker, and that she always places the importance of others before herself. And so I had a very high regard for that and appreciate it. So I'm one of those people that she puts first. Tina is a very strong woman. She's been through a lot in her life that it was personally painful for her in a physical way, and emotionally painful, one of the things I love about Tina is that she is so much a caretaker that she will do whatever is necessary, whatever needs to be done. She will give of herself. She's a great cook. You can tell that I love that. Another one of the things that I really respect about Tina, and from the very start, is her relationship with God. She's been a great example to me. You know, when we met, I wasn't actually. I remember saying to myself that I was going to go to school and start this new career and travel and by myself. You know, that I wasn't going to meet anybody. I wasn't interested in meeting anyone, and you know, it was going to be me and my new career, and you know, that would be great and all that. Well, it wasn't long before God brought us together, and I do feel like the Lord did bring us together. Why it had to be God, because I'm not so sure that you know, she would have been interested in me otherwise. So I just she has a strong character, and I admire her very much. Megan's my stepdaughter, and Megan's father unfortunately passed away a couple of years before I met Tina. And Megan was in her, I think, her early teens, or just before, just a preteen. And I will say that it had a great effect on Megan. She loved her father dearly. Megan has a lot of love to give people, and she cares very much for children. It has a lot of, I would say, empathy for anyone who has any sort of disability, because she understands that. And with children, she just has a way of communicating and getting along with kids, and especially babies. Megan will take them in her arms, and before long they've fallen asleep, or they've calmed down, or you know, she's reading to them or playing with them, and everything's good. So she has quite a talent there. Losing our parents, you know, obviously we all do eventually. I mean, that is just a fact of life. Learning to take care of other people and see them decline, but yet experience it with them, was a good, valuable lesson on life itself and how we're all here temporarily, and that we need each other. By taking care of my parents in their old age, it helped me to understand why it's so important to take care of your parents, and for your children to see that you do, because one day you will need your children to take care of you. Dying, or the process of dying, is a natural, normal thing, and that you know, we all experience it. And the actual death itself is really a step toward the next life that we will all experience in one way or another. That we're going to either spend eternity with God or without. And I know that my eternity is assured in heaven, thanks to Jesus. So I think it's okay to enjoy your life, the life that you've been given here. Enjoy the things in it. And you know, I will love all that. But when it's time for me to go, I'll be ready to go. And I know that what I'm going to is going to be wonderful. I would say my life's been pretty full, and I'll take whatever God brings me and be happy and thankful. I think the thing that you can give somebody that really is the most important thing is your time and your attention. And I think that's one of the most important things, not sharing things, but sharing your life. And I wish I had shared more of my life with my family or even with friends. If I could change one thing, it would be to try to be more, more open, to share other people's experiences and mine too. I guess the one thing that I want everyone to know is how much I love them. And I may not say it in those words, but I hope they know it. I'm Grant Hatch. I'm leaving a legacy.